Okay, so the job that I looked at for a marriage and family studies degree was an intake specialist, and I looked specifically at a job in Kansas that is an intake specialist or survivor intake specialist for something called CARE. And so basically what that is they have a center on the Kansas State University campus where students, faculty, and staff can all come in. And basically what they do is if they have been sexually abused, if they've been abused in dating, a lot of it has to do with different types of sexual abuse and abuse in relationships. They can come into that center. It's open for 24 hours. And they can essentially get help. So I don't know anyone in this particular career, but it looked really interesting to me. And so the work environment it's not bad, but it's also not ideal because you are dealing with very serious topics of people who have just been abused and they're traumatized. So basically that's kind of hard and isn't super family friendly. I wouldn't invite your kids in to watch the situations going on. And it's also open for 24 hours, and that's this Kansas State one, but I'm pretty sure that is for all intake centers are open 24 hours in case someone needs to come in. So that means that you wouldn't have set hours, and you might have to work on weekends and nights and early mornings. So that also may not be family friendly because you don't necessarily know when you're going to be home. But yeah, and also it's not a large organization, and I don't think there are any that are larger because this does work on a university campus. I think that intake centers are usually kind of small and community based, so people in the community can come in and they can get help. From what I saw, there are no specific benefits that are offered for this job. At least not for the Kansas State one. I kind of looked around and I couldn't find any like medical benefits or insurance or things like that. So probably not a lot of benefits. So obviously it depends on what you do. So in the Kansas State job that I looked at, you would be doing a lot of paperwork and being a first responder to people who come in and need help. And so for the Kansas State job, for that one in particular, you would have to manage the day-to-day tasks in the center, and just the day-to-day things that you need done in an office. And so but if you're not specifically for this job, so you're there to help people who come into the center, kind of help them cope with what just happened, and you have to be very calm and very level-headed and be able to be subjective and not judge them, no matter what happened in their situation. And so for this particular job that I looked at at Kansas State, you only need a bachelor's degree in like social work or family studies or human services or women's studies, things like that. They also really recommend that you have spent some time working as a survivor advocate, and also as like a support service for those who have experienced trauma. So a little bit of experience is good. The pay is not super great. For the average for an intake specialist is about $30,630 a year. So that, I mean, it's not bad, but it really depends on what organization you're working for, and where you're working. So it can range from $11 to about $14. It really depends. At the Kansas State job, you got paid $33 annually. So some miscellaneous information is this isn't a career where you're required to travel. So if that's not your thing, you're not required to do that. But also you have to, something else is that it changes a lot. So what you might be doing day to day is different depending on the needs of the people, and week to week. So anyways, yeah, that is what I found about intake specialists.